Welcome back to another episode of Fantasy Football Semi-Pros. I'm Brandon. With me again is Ryan. Ryan, how are you today?
Good, man. I had today off, Veterans Day. Banks are closed. Cool. Played some Vanguard Zombies pretty much all day after doing chores, so it was great.
Well, you mentioned it is Veterans Day. I do want to start off by saying thank you for your service.
I didn't do anything. Hey, no, it's Antonio Gates, not Ocho Cinco. I wish. It's the Chargers helmet. It was pretty cheap on an auction, so...
With Giant Chode, we appreciate that comment. We've been trying to mix in some new music, get some new drops in, so...
Change it up a bit.
Yep. So we'll go ahead and we'll start with your question before we get going. Squiz Giant Chode asks, got a half PPR, need one at wide receiver, Marbitron Bateman, or Ayuk. I knew who I would go with here.
I would say Bateman.
I would go with Ayuk right now. Sammy Watkins is expected to be back this week, and I'm curious how this offense is going to look adding another receiver.
I know Ayuk had a good week last week, but I'm wondering if it's going to be consistent enough and reliable enough to put him in there.
Oh, I agree. It's going to be a tough option either way, but
yeah, I like Bateman here just because he's getting the targets. Sammy Watkins before he was hurt wasn't really doing all that much.
No, but that still takes away targets from Bateman.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, flip a coin, heads Bateman, tails Ayuk, go for it. It's hard. I'm gonna stick with Bateman right now though, just because that offense is more consistent, it's better, and he's getting a lot of targets. I just don't see Watkins, who didn't do anything before Bateman was on the field, doing much to Bateman's floor right now. So
and that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying Watkins is going to be fantasy relevant.
No, I just don't think he's going to take enough away from Bateman right now.
Fair.
And Ayuk, one good game. It's hard to trust him, man. I'm gonna go with Bateman on that one.
Fair. So we'll go ahead and jump into our ESPN Pick'em results for Week 9.
Oh.
This week, it was a rough week for Ryan. He ended up going 7-7, bringing his overall record to 91-45.
Well, I'm losing it.
Luckily, you're still leading the whole group, though.
Only by 2 games.
You've been leading by about 2 games this whole time.
I had about 4 for a while there.
Actually, I was the highest. I had the most picks right this week at 10. I went 10-4, bringing my total to 84-52. And for those of you that are interested, Devin ended up beating the coin after the Monday night gift for the Steelers.
Yeah, I mean, man, the Steelers, they should have won that game easy, but Justin Fields, man, they helped. The officiating in Monday night's game was just...
it was bad.
It was awful. And it makes it hard to be a fan of the game when it's that bad. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I hate playing Thursday night players. I hate it so much. Last week I should have played Carson Wentz. I won anyway, but I didn't have Murray. I should have played Carson Wentz. I didn't, hoping Murray was going to play. But yeah, if it's not like a Christian McCaffrey or an Alvin Kamara, Jonathan Taylor, I hate playing Thursday night players.
There was a time I hated it because the Thursday night game always seemed to be
boring.
Rough. I mean, teams just didn't seem to get prepared in time.
Yeah.
Now these games are exciting and they tend to be high scoring, so that's not really the case anymore.
Might be the matchups that are going on, but is it tonight's Ravens Dolphins?
Yeah, tonight's Ravens Dolphins with Jacoby Brissett starting at quarterback. As for our DFS matchup, Ryan gets back in the winner's column.
Oh, I would.
Takes a 1-game lead on me. Ryan won 106.58 to 101.3.
That's our head-to-head. That's not for everybody who did a...
Yeah.
Timex won again.
Yep. I did want to say congratulations to Timex 2132 who won our DFS matchup this week.
I think it's 2 weeks in a row.
Sounds right.
Yeah, I think so. MCAT, where you at? What happened? You were doing so well. I was trying to learn from you.
All right. So I'm working on trying to find some music for the next part. I don't have any today, but for our Week 10 buys, or Week 10 preview, I should say. For buys this week, we have the Chicago Bears, the Cincinnati Bengals, Houston Texans, and New York Giants.
Yeah, I'm without T. Higgins and Brandon Cooks in my Dynasty League. My Dynasty League is going to be rough this week, especially if Kamara doesn't play.
One of my Dynasty Leagues, half my lineup's out because of the bye weeks.
It's rough, man.
I think I'm missing Cooks, Burrow, Higgins, Mixon, and kicker, McPherson.
Ouch.
Yeah, I got to make some room in that league this week. Mm-hmm. But for tonight's game, Ravens at Dolphins, both Ryan and I picked the Ravens on Monday.
Yeah, I don't know, man. At this point in the season, I won't be surprised if the Dolphins and Jacoby Brissett, because for some reason, I don't think he was going to play this week.
He's not. They already said Brissett's playing tonight.
Oh, sorry.
He was the backup.
Well, after I played about 5 or 6 games of zombie solos on Call of Duty Vanguard, I passed out for like an hour. I was like, yeah, I'm going to go sleep. I'm going to take a nap. It's my day off. I can do whatever I want.
All right, so the first game we're going to break down, the Falcons at Cowboys. Nope. The Cowboys, as of last night, were 9-point favorites. Just some notes here. Cedric Wilson didn't practice yesterday or today. He's talented, but I think he moves back to a wide receiver 4 now that Gallup is coming back.
Possibly. I just hope it doesn't hurt CeeDee Lamb.
And then Amari Cooper and Zeke, they were limited yesterday. I haven't seen the report for today, though. But they should play nothing.
I mean, your stars and your older guys, you got to take care of them. They've been in the league long enough to not have to practice.
Yep.
Practice? I'm talking about game, not practice. I'm going to take the Cowboys.
Wasn't it Jim Moore who did the playoffs? Did you see he just signed to be the coach of UConn?
Yeah, I saw that.
That was my first thought when I saw his name.
Playoffs.
But, I mean, here.
They are who we thought they were. That was
I don't think you're starting a Falcons wide receiver.
No, I think the only Falcons you're starting right now is Kyle Pitts.
And Cordero Patterson.
If you have to.
I'd start him. He's still producing. He actually is producing more than Pitts is.
Yeah, you're right. I take that back. He had a pretty good week last week with that really long 6-yard catch. So you're going to hear my dog chewing in the background. I'm sorry.
There's so many toys down here that we take one away, he finds 3 more.
I don't know where they keep coming from. I thought they were all upstairs. Stop, buddy.
Yeah, for the Cowboys, you're starting Dak, Elliott, Cooper, Lamb. I will say, I don't know if I'd start Schultz anymore now Gallup's back.
I don't think so, but we'll see. We'll see what the test is this week and see how it goes. That's faux show.
And the good news for you, I'm not going to make up any ground with you or on you with this game. I am taking the Cowboys as well.
Yeah, I think this. I don't know, man, but them Dirty Birds down in Atlanta, they're sneaking up on people.
Yeah. All right, so our next game, we had the Saints at the Titans. As of last night, the Titans were 3-point favorites. Mm-hmm. The big news here, though, Kamara.
Shut up.
Hasn't practiced yesterday, didn't practice today. And the Saints worked out some running backs earlier this week.
Yeah, that part makes me sick to my stomach because I've already lost Derrick Henry in the Dynasty League. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I can't lose Kamara.
I don't think that's going to be a long-term injury, but even if Kamara plays this week, he might be a little bit limited.
That's my fear, but I can't bench him.
Yeah, you can't bench him if he plays, and I only think the way Mark Ingram is relevant is if Kamara is out.
Or if you're just in a rebuild.
Well, we're looking more.
Well, yeah, this is redraft, but yeah, I think Ingram, though I think it's going to become more of a timeshare if Kamara is actually hurt like it is in Denver or, I hate to say it, Baltimore.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be that bad. And Kamara's still going to get the passing work, I think. Passing touches are more
valuable,
worth more than rushing touches. I think they say a passing touch is worth like 2.3 points versus every rushing touch.
Well, yeah, because one reception in a PPR league equals 1 point. So even if it's one reception for 0 yards, they still get 1 point. If they rush for 0 yards, it's 0 point.
As for the Titans, A.J. Brown, he was limited yesterday. I think he was limited again today. But he should be shadowed by Lattimore.
This could be a good time for Julio Jones to step up and make his mark on this team.
Now, I'm not saying you're sitting Brown, because you're playing Brown if you have him. It's just that's a slight downgrade. Like, these two have gone at it before, and
I mean,
he can still have a usable fantasy day.
I mean, let's just look at it. When the Saints played, the Seahawks, and Lattimore was shadowing DK Metcalf. Metcalf, first drive of the game, had that long touchdown reception. That was it for the rest of the game, really.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, other than that, the Saints DBs do not scare you. It's their run game, run defense that scares you.
Yeah, I mean, but they have a good defense. The Saints have a pretty solid defense and a decent pass rush and decent secondary, especially with Lattimore back there. But yeah, it's their linebackers that are really the stars of this defense. So
my question for you: if you had to start a Titans running back,
okay,
Foreman, McNichols, or Peterson, which one would you start?
I would say McNichols because of the PPR value, but I don't know. I don't know if you start any of them if you don't have to.
Last week, Deontay Foreman looked like the best running back out there.
Yeah.
Now, this defense and the Rams are a hard defense to judge us on.
Yeah, that's true. So, I mean, I think Adrian Peterson, first time back in action, I think it's going to...
I think Peterson's still a touchdown-dependent running back right now.
I think right now, yes, but I would stash him on your bench and see how he does. I mean, it wouldn't hurt. There's not a lot of better options out there at this point in the season, so...
All right, so
I don't know.
We'll move on. Who are you picking for this game?
The
Saints ruined your model.
Yeah, and I think they're going to go... I mean, I don't know. This Titans team is playing really tough right now. And, I mean, ever since that loss to the Jets, I don't think they've lost a game. That was week 3 or week 4. I'm gonna roll with the Titans at home here, simply because I think Ryan Tannehill is starting to become a very good game manager. Yes.
He's starting to become. He's been one.
I think this year it's really showing that, yeah, he can manage a game and get the offense up. He needed 28 points to beat the Rams last week. I don't even think they scored 3 touchdowns.
Still.
I think the defense scored one of those touchdowns. I mean, they're doing enough. They're keeping the ball out of the opposing offense's hands. So time of possession is really working for the Titans here. And the Saints' passing game is almost non-existent at this point in the year. So I think the Titans run away with this one.
Yep, I'm choosing Titans as well. All right, so our next game, we got the Jags that just knocked off the Bills versus the Colts.
Not a single touchdown.
The Jags beat the Bills, and yet the Colts are still 10.5-point favorites.
I don't know. Blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while. But
I agree. And as you mentioned, they didn't score a touchdown last week.
No, there was 5 field goals made in the entire game. I think another 3 were missed by both kickers combined. But
I mean, as for this, Lawrence was limited with an ankle injury. He's going to play.
I mean, he came back to play, so yeah.
The one you got to keep an eye on right now, I'm sorry, man, Robinson.
The last time I checked, they're just sitting him so he can heal, and they expect him. Urban Meyer expects him to play, so.
Yeah, he said he thinks he's got a shot. I think was the exact quote. I'm trying to look that one up now. But he didn't practice yesterday. I haven't seen the reports for today. Because basically I get off of work and then come straight here.
Well.
Let's see.
Oh, he's limited at practice.
Yeah, he was limited today, so that's a good sign. He might be the only person I'd be considering starting on there.
What about Dan Arnold?
Oh, yeah, I forgot about Dan Arnold. Yeah.
I know you love Dan Arnold. So.
I do. For some reason, he's really shown up this year, and he's guy. I've actually tried to target in a couple dynasty leagues with no avail. T.Y. Hilton, he could be back. He was limited yesterday. He's recovering from a concussion.
Fifth most points to what position?
So Indianapolis, they've allowed the 5th most fantasy points to the wide receiver position, including and the 4th most to the perimeter. So I will say the Jags wide receivers, they might have a decent matchup here.
Could. But the good news for everybody holding on to T.Y. Hilton and expecting and hoping and praying for, what he did last year and a couple years ago to come back. He did practice. He was a full go today at practice. So I saw that earlier just because he's no longer on the IR or out. So
Can you believe the Colts have allowed the most touchdowns to the wide receiver position with 15.
No. I find that hard to believe, but I mean...
They're actually a decent defense. There's one I've been targeting a lot in fantasy.
I mean, that must have been early on in the season where the bulk of that... Because you have to think they played Seattle first week and then the Rams the second week or something like that, right? So, I don't know, man.
Yeah, I'm hesitant to start Jags receivers here. But if I had to choose one, I'm probably going Agnew still.
Just because he returns kicks. And
well, not only that, he's getting the targets.
Yeah, I mean, he's soaking up a lot of them like a sponge. So,
but I will say, this is probably the game where Marvin Jones kind of breaks out.
Maybe. Who knows?
All right, so Ryan, who's your pick in this game?
I'm jumping on the Carson Wentz bandwagon here. As much heat as I've given Carson Wentz, he's starting to look really good without his ankles being broken. and as long as he's
healthy
at this level of health or better, I think this team has a lot of potential, and they've been proving it out there on the field on Sundays. So I'm gonna go with the Colts.
You know, I am liking the toughness of
Sunshine.
Yeah, I'm liking the toughness of Trevor Lawrence. I'm liking like I said, I think he's starting to get better as the year goes on. He's starting to look like the game's starting to slow down for him. That being said, I'm still taking the Colts.
Yeah, I mean, it has a quarterback, man. When those ankles get hit and hurt, it's hard to plant and throw, and he worked through it on the sideline and came back. So we'll see how he does this week, though.
All right, so our next game, we had the Browns at the Patriots, the Patriots are 2-point favorites. And in this game, it's looking like the Browns might be without Chubb and Felton.
Well, who's their running back?
Deontay Johnson.
Oh. Maybe I can get him in Dynasty League.
No.
Who hasn't?
Me.
I just don't have anybody, man. My whole team's hurt.
DeAndre Felton. I can't remember his first name. I know
Demetric.
There we go.
You're welcome.
And Nick Chubb. They're both placed on the reserve COVID list. Both of these guys, I know at least Chubb is vaccinated, so he needs 2 negative tests 24 hours apart before Sunday. At this point, it's hard to say that that's going to happen.
Right.
And then they have said Kareem Hunt, he's not going to be activated this week.
No, sir.
Baker Mayfield, Harrison Bryant, they were both limited. But Mayfield, he's been added another injury to the list, his foot.
Oh, that sucks.
But he said he's going to do everything in his power to play. Jarvis Landry didn't practice yesterday with his knee injury. I think that's par for the course. He'll be out there.
Yeah, he'll be playing. On the other side of the ball.
Yep, on the other side of the ball, Stevenson and Harris both didn't practice yesterday with a concussion.
Oh, but the Browns are getting an offensive lineman back from injury, or maybe it was last week.
Stevenson and Harris both suffered a concussion Sunday. They didn't practice Wednesday. I don't think either of them practiced today.
They did not. They were both out.
Something I've kind of heard is Stevenson has a better shot to return than Harris.
Huh. Well, I picked up Brandon Bolden.
So, yeah, Brandon Bolden could be a decent pick, but if Stevenson is able to play, I would consider picking him up and throwing him in my starting lineup.
I just don't know if he's available in most dynasties.
I'm not talking more. I'm talking more redraft than dynasty.
I know. I tend to focus on dynasty, and I apologize, but my redraft team is pretty okay. Just weak at wide receivers. So if you got any wide receivers to go pick up, let me know.
I will say, dynasty, it's less work during the season.
No, it's not.
I think it is.
I put more work in that league than any other league.
But I think dynasty leagues are more fun.
Yeah, I love dynasty.
Because it's year-round. The fun doesn't stop. Once the season's done, you're scouting rookies. After you're scouting rookies, you're doing your draft.
You're scouting rookies if you don't have anything better to do, or you're just a loser like we are. So,
but yeah, this game. So
I don't know.
Odell Beckham Jr. watch. The Patriots did not get him, even though they tried really hard to.
I just thought he was going to end up in Green Bay, or
we'll get to where he ended up later. So Ryan, who is your pick for this game?
Man, I know The Browns really screwed me last week. I knew they were going to win. I don't know why I picked the Bengals. I knew it. There was that feeling in my gut that said the Browns are going to kick the Bengals.
Oh, yeah, another note with the Browns. Donovan Peoples-Jones didn't practice today for personal reasons, so I'm not sure what's going on there.
You know what? I'm not going to go to work tomorrow because of personal reasons, and nobody can ask me why. Ugh. Anywho. I just think, man, this Patriots team is sneaky good.
Yeah. They actually have a shot at the playoffs.
This Browns team isn't too shabby, but with all these injuries, man, it really worries me. And we saw what they did to the darn Broncos when they didn't have Chubb or Hunt. And I don't know. I have to think that Belichick is going to have his guys ready to go on their home turf. So I'm going to make the hard pick here and say the Patriots.
Okay. I'm going with the Browns. Like I said, I think the Browns are a good team. I think they're the best team in the AFC North, so I'm going to stick with them.
Well, you can make up a game or you can go back a game. That's fine with me.
So, we're going to switch this up a little bit. Alright, so I got a sit, start, and cut, or start, sit, and cut question for you.
Okay.
Alvin, and rest of the year. We'll go rest of the year.
Rest of the year in a redraft league.
Yep. Alvin Kamara, Austin Eckler, and Jonathan Taylor.
You're starting Taylor, trading Kamara based on name value, cutting Eckler.
I do agree with you there. That's still a tough one, though, because all three of these guys...
Jonathan Taylor is the number one running back in standard and PPR leagues.
Okay, fair.
Kamara's like fifth. Well, I say Taylor's number one. It's actually Derrick Henry, but he's out for the year. Jonathan Taylor's number two. So
he's number one active.
Right. And Eckler, man, ever since that bye week, well, that game they played against the Ravens, man, he hasn't had...
He's still
been
good.
Terrible. Hasn't been terrible.
Yeah.
But I just think you can get a little more out of Kamara based off of name value.
Definitely, I agree there. Plus, Eckler, he hasn't missed a game this year. So, he's shown that he's been a little bit injury prone. And Kamara's missed at least one game each year, I think.
But I don't think Eckler's missed a game this year.
He hasn't, that's what I was saying.
Are we going to get back to regular scheduled programming, or are we doing any more trades?
I was looking to see if I had any more real quick.
No, okay.
All right, so our next game, we'll get back to our Week 10 preview.
Okay.
We got the Bills, who just got upset at the Jets, but yet the Bills remain 12.5-point favorites.
This Bills team, man, it's kind of like the Chiefs. Like, when are they going to get it together? When are they going to turn it? When are they going to turn around? When are they going to right the ship?
I think defensively has kind of changed their philosophy against everybody this year. We're seeing a lot of too high safeties trying to just say, hey, you're going to beat us. It's not going to be the big play.
Right, and that's how it should have always been. I don't understand.
These two teams, they're not adjusting.
Nope. Nope, they're still playing their third high.
But Beasley... with the rib issue, Moss, concussion, they didn't practice Wednesday. I don't think Moss plays this week. Good news is Knox was limited yesterday. I think he's a full participant today, so I think he's going to be back this week. As for the Jets, Corey Davis, he was a full participant Wednesday. That hurts Elijah Moore, unfortunately. But this is a tough defense for the Jets to play with. This is one of the best secondaries out there.
Yeah, man, I agree with Kamara. If you can get rid of him for something better, I think now is the time to trade Kamara. I've been having those dreams. Oh, dang, man, you're going to Pats versus Brown? That's pretty sick.
Yeah, enjoy that game.
Sorry.
Yeah. Sorry. I'm trying to think what to say there. Yeah,
Corey Davis.
I've only been to two stadiums, and that was Cincinnati's and Indy's. So
I've been to the Bengals Paul Brown Stadium and Soldiers Field in Chicago. Soldiers Field is pretty nuts. It was negative 14 degrees that day. I was so cold. If you set your beer down, it froze immediately. So you had to keep your beer in your hand. And you had to drink it constantly.
Yeah. So we'll talk about Zach Wilson. He is practicing, or should practice this week, but they said Mike White is the starter for at least this week.
Gotcha.
That's good news for Michael Carter.
Yeah.
Because the only time he's really been really relevant is when Mike White was quarterback and he was throwing the dump-off passes, which could be needed this week.
Yes, especially against this team.
Yep. So, I mean, yeah, you mentioned, we mentioned Buffalo is, they've allowed the fewest fantasy points to wide receiver position still. Even after their loss. They've allowed 74 yards passing last week.
Who?
The Bills.
That's it?
That's it.
So Trevor Lawrence only had 74 yards passing?
Maybe it was just 74 yards to wide receivers.
Oh, I was going to say.
But still. Either way, that is ridiculous. They've only allowed 2 touchdowns to wide receivers, and they average 5.5 yards per target to the position.
Check down Mike, I like it.
Which
Michael Carter.
Yep.
Yeah, check down Kamara. Oh, come on, let's get him a reception.
And that's what's going to have to be for the Jets. No wide receiver has reached 17 fantasy points against the Bills this year.
Wow.
So basically that's saying Carter might be the only player you're considering starting for the Jets.
Yes. Are there Superflex redraft leagues?
Yeah. I've played in a couple.
Mike White might be a good play this week, too, at a QB2.
Too risky for me.
But if it's a 2 QB league and you ain't got anybody else, I would love to have Mike White this week because I have Murray, who might be out again, and that's it. Oh.
As for the Jets, they rank 12th worst in fantasy points allowed overall to the wide receiver spot. They've allowed 45-plus fantasy points to New England and Cincinnati wide receivers.
Wow.
So basically, if you have a Bills wide receiver,
play him.
Hopefully it's a get-right game for them.
Like Beasley, Diggs.
Sanders.
He was dropped today.
Whoever's in our league, go pick up Sanders.
Don't do it. I already have a claim in.
Is this in our keeper league?
Yeah. I think you have priority.
I don't think I'm going to go after Sanders.
Yeah, I had to make a tough decision.
All right, so who are you picking for this game?
BYU football. I hear you, man. BYU quarterbacks on typically. Well, Trent Dilfer did okay. Well, and who was the other one? Steve Young. Steve Young was all right. For this game, I'm going to take the Bills. I just don't see the Jets keeping this. I mean, last week they got pretty steamrolled, didn't they? Or were they on
the Jets?
Yeah, they lost.
It wasn't really a close game, but they made it close at the end with their third string quarterback, Josh Johnson.
Yeah, that was the Colts, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so our next game, we have the Lions at the Steelers. The Lions, man.
Steelers.
I'm just saying the Lions. Is there a worse fan base to be a fan, or worse team to be a fan of?
No, man. My mom was from Detroit, and she followed the Lions, and I had to sit through that stuff every year, just watching the Lions lose over and over and over again. And now they don't have Stafford, so they... What's his name? Dan Campbell, the head coach there?
Yep.
Surprised
biting kneecaps.
Yeah, he's biting kneecaps, but he needs to, go for the jugular, reach a little higher. But I'm taking the Steelers, no matter what.
From this, Jamal Williams didn't practice yesterday and today. Good news for Steelers fans. Claypool, he avoided a season-ending injury, but I think he's going to be out this week against the Lions.
Look for James Washington.
Yep, Ebron, he's going to be back, which is bad news for people who are Firemouth managers.
Yeah, you're right. Stockholders.
And Roethlisberger didn't practice yesterday, didn't practice today.
Dude.
He's getting old.
Yeah, he's just... This is all just...
I think this is his last year.
Well, I mean, him not practicing is just maintenance, so...
Yeah. I mean, he is suffering from a shoulder and a pec injury. Now, the Jets, they rank 12th worst in fantasy points overall.
Well, we're not talking about the Jets.
Oh, wait,
we're talking about the Lions.
I must have copied and put that in the wrong spot.
It looks like it.
I think I was meant to talk about the Lions there. Well, the Lions still aren't very good against the pass either.
No, the Lions aren't really good at all. Anywhere in the game.
Deontay Johnson, he's going to have a heck of a workload.
James Washington with Claypool out might be good. Ebron could have a good game.
Najee Harris. Firemouth could have a good game too without Claypool there.
Well, apparently Najee Harris has a toe injury too.
Yeah, Najee Harris, he was limited today. I don't think he's going to miss. This is probably the first time he's been limited in a practice ever.
In his entire life. He's been such a workhorse, though, so...
All right, and
I just hope they start dumping the ball down to him. That'd be really great for my dynasty league.
That's about as far as Roethlisberger can throw.
Well, I traded so much away for him. I'd really hate to see it go to waste.
All right, and I'm taking the Steelers, and I'm guessing you're doing the same thing.
Yeah, I said the Steelers like 9 times.
Yep. Here's hoping that my bet for an 0-17 team pays off.
Was it just any team?
Any team.
They're the only winless team.
Yep. I did put one on Houston as well because I paid out a little bit more, but I figured I might as well do one on each. Okay. And Houston went and ruined that week 1.
Yeah, that was a bad bet.
The next game we have is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Washington football team. The Buccaneers are currently 9.5-point favorites. There's some big news coming out of the Buccaneers camp, though.
Godwin's not practicing.
Godwin hasn't been practicing. Gronk's there. I think they're saying he's out another 2 weeks. Antonio Brown, I don't know if you saw the video of him working out, but his ankle's still swollen. He doesn't have
mobility.
Yeah, he doesn't have mobility. He doesn't have like good control over it still. But they did just sign Brashad Perriman. So he could kind of reprise his role of Godwin's backup this week.
Hopefully.
As for Ryan Fitzpatrick, Ron Rivera said Wednesday that he's made progress, but he still isn't way up there in terms of positive news.
That's Ryan Fitzpatrick, the quarterback.
That's what we said.
Oh, sorry, I didn't hear
that. Rivera also added that he's been given no timetable for the quarterback's return. We may not see Fitzpatrick yet by the end of this year.
No.
And unfortunately, with this injury, it might be time he calls it quits.
Can we still vote him into the Pro Bowl, please? So he can, make the Hall of Fame? Because you can't make the Hall of Fame unless you've been voted into the Pro Bowl once.
Squid's Giant showed. I'm not sure how he got hurt. I just know, I've seen the news that Godwin has been hurt with a foot injury. Which, a foot injury can happen. You can break a bone just, stepping on, the lip of a doorway.
Yeah.
It could be so easy to break a bone in your foot, so...
Feet are weak.
Yeah, I was hoping to get him get me a win. I played him, even though the other guy had Jameis Winston that year. But the whole time I was just looking at my team, it's there's no way I can pull off the upset win the championship.
Oh, it'll happen, man. Jameis Winston, 30 for 30.
As for Logan Thomas, he's probably not going to play this week. His hamstring, he remains sore after Monday's workout. And then Antonio Gibson, he's been limited the last 2 days with the shin issue. If you have somebody else that you can play, I don't know that I'd be starting Gibson because the Buccaneers' defense is too good for run.
Yeah, I think McKissick's going to be the guy to play here because Heineke's going to have to throw the ball around the field to even compete in this game.
Now, the football team, they've allowed the second most fantasy points to wide receivers, including the most to the perimeter and second most to the slot. So, whoever's out there for the Bucs, and we've seen Tom Brady do it with a bunch of no-name receivers in the past.
Tyler Johnson.
Yeah, Tyler Johnson could be out there. Brashad Perriman. Mike Evans gets a huge bump here. This might be the time to run out wide receivers against the Washington football team.
I'm looking. Oh, Lord Quack has Brashad Perriman. Come on, Dougie.
Thank you, Dougie. I wish I had a quacking drop, but you'll get.
It's close enough, man. Really? Why is he holding on to that guy?
Thank you, Duck. I really appreciate it. So Ryan, who is your pick to win this game?
Buccaneers, man.
I am taking the Bucs as well.
Tyler Johnson doesn't even show up in this thing. Tyler Johnson.
He's probably sitting on somebody's taxi squad.
CS Bozos.
Thank you, Bozo. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Man, this is my roster. Murray, who might not play. Kamara, who obviously is hurt. Najee Harris, hurt. Because of Higgins and Cooks, Brandon Cooks being on buys, I have Khalif Raymond and Marquez Callaway in my wide receiver spots. Kyle Pitts, Adrian Peterson, Hayden Hurst. I don't even have a super flex, so I put Brandon Bolden there because my other QB, Tyrod Taylor's on a bye. Randy Bullock, Ravens defense. That's for a dynasty league. Man, I'm just hurting.
I'm kind of enjoying this tilt. Our next game, we had the Panthers at the Cardinals. The Cardinals are 10.5-point favorites. Sam Darnold, he has a partial fracture in his shoulder, is out for a few weeks. The good news for the Panthers,
they got Cam Newton back.
They signed Newton. Newton's not playing this week. They're hoping to have him in the future to start, which I think AKA that means next week.
Yeah, probably.
But PJ Walker is going to be starting for the Panthers this week.
Sam Darnold's time in Carolina might be over.
There's speculation that he could have been playing as bad as he was because of that partial fracture.
Boo.
But my thing is, it took him 2 days. 2 days to find this fracture. It's like, no, I know something's wrong. I want a reason not to start him.
Yeah,
find something.
Yeah, no kidding. I just think at this point that organization's in shambles. So, I mean, hopefully bringing Cam Newton back to Carolina is good for them. Who knows? All
right, so also, as for the Cardinals, Rondale Moore, he didn't practice Wednesday with a neck and concussion issue.
Uh-oh.
DeAndre Hopkins, hamstring. Kyler Murray, ankle. But Murray did say that he has made great progress and plans to play on Sunday.
I hope. Please, fantasy gods.
AJ Green, he was cleared today, so he was back at practice from the COVID reserve list. If Murray doesn't play, what receivers are you considering starting?
All of them.
Fair.
Green, Hopkins, Kirk.
I don't think Hopkins is playing again this week.
Well, if Hopkins doesn't play, then definitely Kirk and
honestly,
AJ Green.
And I'm not saying you
Zach
take any game for granted, but this just seems like another game where you potentially sit Kyler Murray.
Maybe. I don't know. I have Colt McCoy or Kyler Murray. So I think the choice is easy. If Murray plays, I have to play him.
Well, yeah, for you, of course.
And I'm not competing in either week this week, or either league that I am competitive in anyway. So I'm just chalking this week up as a loss unless the fantasy gods are like, we bestow upon you W's. I don't know why.
All right, so who are you taking for this game?
I'm still going to take the Cardinals. I mean, Colt McCoy, he's 35 years old. He's a seasoned veteran.
There's worse backups that you can have.
Absolutely. I mean, fantasy-wise, last week, he didn't do too terribly well. So if that's who you got for your backup for Murray and Murray doesn't end up sitting again, McCoy's not bad. But, I mean, either way, whoever's that quarterback for this Cardinals team, there's so many weapons on this offense. And James Conner, back to his days of old in Pittsburgh. So.
Yeah, I still think you're going to see not quite a bit, but I think Edmonds is going to, or not Edmonds, Benjamin's going to take the Edmonds role.
For a little bit, yeah.
Until Edmonds is back, so.
I just don't think Benjamin, he's touchdown dependent.
Yeah, I'm not trusting Benjamin yet, but Connor, he's definitely a running back too.
Yeah, he's RB2 at least. I mean, he was the highest scoring running back last week. So have confidence without Edmonds in that Connor's going to be a good play.
So in the last 2 years, the Vikings have played the most games that were decided by one score. Do you know who the second team was?
Wait, what? What was the question?
The Vikings have played the most games that have been decided by one score.
This year?
In the last 2 years. This year and last year.
Okay.
Do you know who the other team is?
Is it the Chargers?
It is the Chargers. The Vikings are playing the Chargers. The Chargers are currently 3-point favorites. The reason I bring that up, that means this game has a high potential for fantasy output.
I mean, like last week when the Vikings played the Ravens.
Yep. The news I wanted to bring up, though, Keenan Allen, he didn't practice yesterday. He was limited today, which is good news there. Other than that, there's not much in the news of injuries here.
No.
Minnesota, they've also allowed the 6th most fantasy points of wideouts this season, including the 5th most over the past month. So, I mean, basically, you're starting Allen, Williams, and on the Viking side of the ball, Jefferson and Thielen.
Yep.
Both running backs are playable.
Eckler and Cook.
And honestly,
Dalvin Cook.
tight end wise,
Conklin might be a good start. Jared Cook, maybe.
Conklin's getting enough receptions that his touchdown rate should start going up.
Yeah, he's getting enough targets too. So.
And did you see what Donald Parham said?
No.
People are asking, how do you say his name? He tweeted out, it's Parham.
Parham.
Like he's going ham on this on this defense.
Okay.
He could be a good play too. He's starting to break out a little bit. He's a really athletic tight end that I really like in the future. Mm-hmm. Who are you picking for this game?
I think I'm going to roll with the Chargers. This Vikings team, I believe, they're 3-6 now. They're just not finding ways to win. I mean, they blew a lead against the Ravens last week, and it's just kind of been the story. Same old song and dance. Chargers win by 6.
I want to say the Chargers. I really like watching the Chargers play, but something just tell me to go with the Vikings this week.
That's fair.
All right, our next game we had the Eagles at the Broncos. Devonta Smith, he didn't practice yesterday with an elbow issue, he was limited yesterday. I think he was full today. As for the Broncos, Tim Patrick and Albert O, they did not practice yesterday. I haven't seen any reports today.
Albert O Wikipedia. Hey, if anybody knows how to say Albert O's last name, please let us know.
Owebekanam?
Like, send us like a voice text or something through Facebook or Instagram.
They didn't practice the last 2 days. Fant was activated from the COVID list, so I think that takes Albert O out of your starting lineups.
Yeah, but Noah Fant, he's starting to get enough targets to be considered for a bye week start.
Yep.
If not a regular start at tight end.
You see the Eagles and you think Broncos have good matchups this week, right?
No, they really don't.
They don't. Courtland Sutton's likely going to be shadowed by Darius Slay. Slay shut down Mike Williams last week until he got hurt at the very end of the game. Mm-hmm. And Tim Patrick's going to be shadowed by Steve Nelson. The Eagles have allowed the 4th fewest fantasy points of wide receivers this season.
Sorry, I had to fart.
Great podcasting there.
I don't care. You know.
So, I'm not saying you're going to sit Courtland Sutton.
No, but I would really tamper expectations here for him.
Yep. And even Jerry Jeudy might have a little bit of a rough outing, too.
Mm-hmm.
So, Ryan, who is your pick for this game?
I want to say the Eagles, but after the shellacking that the Broncos put onto the Dallas Cowboys last week, I think Denver's offense is starting to find their stride a little bit, and you like to see the more uptick in work between Williams and Gordon. I know you wish it was a little more sided for Gordon, but Williams, but. Hey, man, these running backs are starting to find their stride, and I think this offense is doing pretty good.
Honestly, I think you can start Melvante. No, not combining them.
Melvante?
Melvin Gordon and Javonte Williams. Melvante?
Yeah, play
I think both of them. I think both of them can be played this week. The Eagles do not have a good run defense.
No, and that's why I'm going to say Broncos run away with it. But
Pun intended.
Right. I still think it's going to be maybe a close score, but I don't know. We saw what they did last week.
I mean,
won by 14
if you're a Hurts manager, you hope this is a blowout because that's when Hurts gets all his points is in garbage time.
That's true.
The garbage man.
The garbage.
I'm taking the Broncos as well. All right, our next game we have the Seahawks at the Packers. The Packers are currently 3-point favorites, and that's without the guarantee that Rodgers is going to play.
Yeah. I keep hearing all this talk about the Seahawks, this, Russell Wilson, that, and I only pick the Seahawks if Jordan Love is named the starter. But right now, I think you have the Packers, Lambeau Field.
Well, Alex Collins, he was limited yesterday.
Doesn't matter.
Chris Carson, he returned to practice. He does need to be evaluated through the week before being fully cleared. Mm-hmm. But he could be playing this weekend. Wilson has been a full participant, and he's most likely going to be playing this weekend, which is great because we didn't want to see a Geno Smith-Jordan Love matchup.
No, not on Sunday night. No.
Well, this is not Sunday night.
Monday night.
This Sunday night's Chiefs-Raiders.
Who's Monday night?
Rams 49ers.
Oh, sorry, I didn't see it there at the very bottom.
Rodgers does think he is going to be cleared, and he's going to play.
He said there's a very small possibility he doesn't.
Yep. One thing I did want to bring up, The Packers have averaged 13.8 points per game when Aaron Rodgers has missed since 2017.
Okay.
Just for context, when the Lions went 0-16, they averaged 16.8. When the Browns went 0-16, they averaged 14.6.
Wow.
So what's that saying? The Packers are screwed if they don't have Rodgers.
The Packers need Aaron Rodgers. Give the man his money.
Oh, he's getting money.
Or else he's just give him his wide receiver.
Get him what he wants.
Line. Yeah, I mean, yeah. For as long as he can play. He's the next Tom Brady.
So I'm going with you. If Rodgers plays, I'm taking the Packers.
Yes.
If he doesn't, I'm taking the Seahawks.
I don't know. See, every time I think somebody shouldn't win for some reason, they do win. And the time that I can't remember, somebody was out and he said, "I'm gonna make a change to my pick," and I just stuck with it.
Oh, with Dak and the Cowboys?
Oh yeah. I stuck with the Cowboys and they won. So first time I stuck with a pick after somebody was named out, and I said, "All right." Yeah, I'm gonna go Packers right now, though, assuming Aaron Rodgers is starting.
Yeah, I'm doing the same thing. If Rodgers isn't starting, I'm taking the Seahawks.
I'm not sure yet.
All right, so the Sunday night game, we have the Chiefs at the Raiders. The Chiefs are currently 2.5-point favorites. Clyde Edwards-Helaire has returned to practice, and they're saying he's looking real good right now.
Real good right now.
Hunter Renfrow, he was limited Wednesday. Thing is, though, Las Vegas, they've allowed the third fewest fantasy points to wide receivers this season.
They got a pretty solid defense over there.
Yeah. And, I mean, you're not sitting Hill, but you're definitely not starting another Chiefs receiver.
No, I wouldn't. I mean, Travis Kelce is probably the only other guy that you can throw in there right now.
So my question for you, though.
Okay.
Do you think Kenyon Drake can be a flex play?
Yes. I mean, after Gruden's left, yes, Kenyon Drake's a solid flex play ever since
It's
that.
like Gruden went out and got Drake, then decided, I don't want to use this guy.
It's kind of like the fantasy manager that just picks somebody up so nobody else can have them.
This guy.
Barber.
I do that kind of stuff all the time, and it's fun.
Yeah, you got a third for Colt McCoy. All because I was driving. I just couldn't pick him up.
I would have beat you to him anyways.
I doubt it.
I had him picked up before the sleeper notification.
I doubt it.
So who are you taking for this game?
I'm gonna take the Raiders.
God, I was hoping to get a game on you. The Raiders seem to play the Chiefs really well, and I think they were 2-0 against them last year.
I think so too, but I mean, after that embarrassing loss to the Giants last week, I think this Raider team, man, there was a lot going on with the Raiders last week, and then they had to travel across the country to play the Giants.
Good news is they do get a field-stretching deep threat with Desean Jackson now.
Oh, he did sign with them?
Yeah, he did sign.
Cool.
It was announced before the game Monday night.
So is he playing this week?
I would assume so. He's got a full week of practice with them.
I think I have him on my bench stashed away in the Dynasty League. Maybe I can play him at wide receiver and hope for the best. Yeah, I'm saying Raiders. And Derek Carey will be back off the IR next week, so that's good news too.
Yep.
I mean, not for fantasy managers, but
It's good news for
me and him. Honestly, more him than me.
our last game of the week. The Rams at the 49ers. The Rams are 4-point favorites. I wouldn't be surprised to see if that increases with the signing of Odell Beckham Jr. I texted you as soon as I saw this information. I was like, I had not seen him rumored to go to the Rams at all.
Yeah, I thought it was the Packers, Chiefs, or Saints. And then all of a sudden,
I was hearing the
Patriots were making a
as
move,
well.
and
Raiders were trying.
And then Bruce Arians came out from Tampa Bay and said, "No, it's too many letters. I can't do it.
I got AB. I
can't
OBJ.
do OBJ. I'll get confused in my play calls or whatever." And then all of a sudden, Rams signed OBJ. Oh, what?
Well, from what I was hearing, the Titans cut Josh Reynolds last week, and they were trying to get Josh Reynolds back. Josh Reynolds ended up signing with Detroit instead. I don't know why, if you had a choice between the Rams and Detroit, you take Detroit.
Me neither. Wait, the Titans cut Josh Reynolds?
Yeah. The Titans signed Josh Reynolds in the offseason to be their number 2, and then traded for Julio when the opportunity came.
Oh.
Yep. Other than that, I mean, there's not a lot to talk about here. George Kittle's finally starting to get back to George Kittle things.
Yeah. What?
I'm making sure we have sound. Okay, I couldn't see
we got
lights on there.
lights. We got lights.
Debo, they didn't practice until today, but he was a little injured last week, and it helped Ayuk show up a little bit. Ayuk, I think, starting to get back into a groove where he could be a flex play.
Maybe. I would want to see it one more time. But Debo was off the injury report today.
He was?
Yeah, I got a notification while we were shooting this thing.
All right, and then Elijah Mitchell, it's going to be a tough play against the Rams, but if anything showed us last week, any running back can go off at any point.
I think Elijah Mitchell is a true RB1 start.
Especially because last week he started getting some of the passing game work. He had 5 catches.
You're sticking him in there, and you're rolling with Elijah Mitchell at this point in the season.
And then as for the Rams, I don't think I'm starting OBJ yet this week. Mm-hmm. I want to take a week to see how that runs out.
Even with them playing on Monday night, I wouldn't trust them.
But, man, it hurts Robert Woods' value, I think.
I think it hurts Cooper Kupp's value, too.
Maybe a little bit, not near as much.
Do you think we're going to see another collapse of a team?
Not this year. I think he knows that they can win the championship with him, so.
They can win it without him, too.
Oh, I know. So, actually, one thing I wanted to bring up about this. Apparently, Cooper Kupp's dad plays fantasy football.
Yeah, I saw it.
Everybody in the group everybody in that league decided, we're not giving you the discount, just letting you get Cooper.
Yeah, we're no longer doing
You're going to have to compete for him next year.
You're no longer just going to get your son fantasy football. We're going to take him when we feel he's necessary to be taken.
You know, A.J. Dillon started playing fantasy football this year in the league. And someone's like, how big of a flex would it be, and how early would you do it? Would you take A.J. Dillon?
I don't know. He's starting to turn it up here, getting more touches.
So, anyways, we'll go back to this. Ryan, who is your pick for this Monday night game?
49ers got embarrassed last week.
So did the Rams.
Yeah. I don't know.
I am taking the Rams.
I think I still have to roll with the Rams here. I just don't think the 49ers are still quite there yet. I mean, Jimmy G missing a couple games early on in the season really hurt this team's feng shui.
He's been, I think, the top quarterback in these last 2 weeks.
Okay. I mean, yeah, he doesn't look bad. They're just not. This defense is... I don't know what's wrong with this defense. I thought they were supposed to be good.
Well, they're not sure they're going to have Von Miller this week either.
That's unfortunate.
But so who's your pick?
I'm going Rams.
Okay. You're going Rams. So that covers our Week 10 preview.
Oh.
We appreciate everybody who tuned in to listen to us, watch us, whatever.
And Squid's Giant Chode. I love that name, man. Thanks for tuning in and asking us questions. I see you're no longer on, but that's all right. We appreciate it anyway.
Yep. We'll be back on Monday with our Week 10 recap and
Devin versus the coin.
Yep, and don't forget, like us on Facebook, Twitter, like and subscribe on YouTube, Instagram, and Saturday I will be putting out mine and Ryan's head-to-head DFS and lineups, as well as a link to play against us if you'd like to join. Free to play. There's no money involved. It's just for bragging rights, but
we're not. I'm tired of throwing money away. I've been doing that on my house, trying to fix it.
All right, well.
That's all I got.
Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you guys on Monday.
Deuces. Why is it open out every time you take a picture of the local? They don't go. I don't know what it means.
It's just that they're super excited and super happy all the time.
Something to do with their culture. Bruins scored.